I'm just going to put that out there because this is what's led to all this wokeness. Wokeness. You do a job because you're qualified. You have the skills, the ability to do that. We have elected a drama teacher for the Prime Minister. He ran on his daddy's name. And all we've had ever since is drama. I want to bring some attention to the Emergencies Act. And a lot of this, I took many of this information from Tom Woods in his exchange here with Rebel News and Ezra Levant, which, thank goodness, we have outlets like Ezra and Rebel and Kian Bexkey, the Counter Signal, and True North, with Candace and Andrew Lawton. Thank you guys. The world needs some truth in the reporting restored, and you guys are doing a great job. But here it goes. Trudeau has no legal jurisdiction or justification for invoking the Emergencies Act. So it's never been invoked in Canada. In 2014, there was a supposed terrorist attack on Parliament, and he didn't invoke it then. It was never invoked. 9/11, it was never invoked. And so now you have a protest, people who Justin Trudeau just disagrees with, who just says, sit down with us. Let's have a conversation. Let's end the mandates, the way that the world is going, the way that pretty much every province is going. And no, he can't do that. He chooses to use force. He's called them terrorists. And of course, as I just said, you can have your bank account seized right now for just basically sending $100 to feed somebody who is standing up for our freedoms. We're dangerous and not peaceful. Yet the snow has been cleared, no damage has been done to property, and no one's life has been threatened. Not a single act of violence in Ottawa. Yet the Emergencies Act was put there, and let's be clear, it's the War Measures Act. It was put there if indeed it ever needed to be used against a genuine threat. So, Mr. Trudeau, you are making a mockery of this. It's outlined in the CSIS Act, and it has an extremely high bar, of which Jagmeet Singh apparently is going to go along with this, and there's no surprise there. It is being questioned by the Conservatives, but it should never have been implemented. This was a declaration of war against your own people. And the act specifically excludes lawful advocacy, protest, or dissent. So if there's a coup happening here, Mr. Trudeau, the coup is actually from within government. It is your illegitimate attempt to keep control, to never let this pandemic end. You're looking for every citizen to be vaccinated, 100%. That's not even realistic. Not realistic. Apparently, you claim 90% have been vaccinated. When this started, it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It was about preserving our healthcare system. And now it has turned into 2 years. 2 years with no end in sight, according to you. 16% you are in the polls. No wonder. You backed yourself into a corner. And you're even losing support from the people who have supported you because you're frantic. You have shown no leadership. You're a tyrant and a dictator. And you have made that blatantly obvious, not only to the people of Canada, but to the people around the world, and even to other leaders. You know, Justin Trudeau, you have lost when the Toronto Sun All the left-wing media are now abandoning you. You've backed yourself into a corner, and there is no way out. You want to rule. You're a public servant. That's what the Prime Minister is, a public servant, not a ruler, not a dictator. It's not whatever Justin Trudeau says goes. And I want to talk about Miss Chrystia Freeland. Wow, you're a treat, aren't ya? Talking about how all this money is being used to finance these activities. What money? The truckers haven't received any. Not a penny. You've been seizing it all. GoFundMe, Give, Send, Go. The government has confiscated private property. You have criminalized peaceful protests. You and Trudeau are the criminals. And your day of judgment will come. It will come. Now let's talk about tow trucks. He was so pleased to announce that they have commandeered, I think was the word, commandeered tow trucks. By force? So now what? If the government comes and says, me as a private business, I have no choice but to obey you, Mr. Trudeau? Is that how this works? Chief Slawley resigns for bullying? Wow. So here's the problem when people are put into positions beyond their level of competence, which apparently this is why Chief Slawley is stepping down, was because he wasn't able to handle this situation. He's incompetent. And yet, he was put there, why? I would argue more because of the color of his skin and to appease some sort of mandate around diversity rather than his qualifications and his professional ability. I'm just going to put that out there because this is what's led to all this wokeness. Wokeness. You do a job because you're qualified. You have the skills, the ability to do that. We have elected a drama teacher for the Prime Minister. He ran on his daddy's name. And all we've had ever since is drama. He's loyal to the World Economic Forum and to Klaus Schwab, not to Canadians. He's losing the support of his own MPs. He's panicked, and he should be, because he knows he's lost. But a slain dragon, it's a messy, messy, messy ending. So, we now have him, he's using all the banks to develop a list of his enemies, apparently. So anybody who has supported the convoy in any way, you are now an enemy of the state. You are an enemy of Justin Trudeau. And in doing so, your bank account can be confiscated. Your personal property. How does it make you feel? Canada? Do you feel free? Do you think this is democracy? And for those of you on the left, you have to remember, your freedom and my freedom are intertwined. When they're done with the Conservatives, when they're done with the truckers, who's next? It doesn't end there. It's supposed to end after 2 weeks, and it's 2 years with no end in sight. Just think about that. So this is going to be in place for just 30 days, just like the lockdowns were in place for just 2 weeks. Food for thought. Thanks for watching.